Security Union Minister, Ravi Shankar Prasad, the Minister for Communications, Electronics, IT, Law and Justice. Remember, the telecom sector is going through one of its toughest times, with Vodafone Idea even talking of shutting down.
While the new Personal Data Protection Bill is a welcome step, there are concerns that it fails to protect the citizens' right to privacy, Avan. And yes, the bill has now been referred to a joint panel. There are still question marks on the future of telecom and if India will become a duopoly or not. So let's please welcome on stage the minister himself, Ravi Shankar Prasad, and to moderate the fireside chat, and I say fired, quote unquote, once again, Navika Kumar.
A loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
It clearly is the sector in news.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, thank you very much for joining us here at the India Economic Conclave.
Thank you.
And this segment is called the Fireside Chat. So fireworks is what people expect. I hope you're ready for a late Diwali.
Why you always begin with fire, I fail to understand.
Sir, it's not important.
But let me begin on a lighter note first, ladies and gentlemen. And I would leave it to you to take a judgment. If the Commerce Minister of India can be given the indulgence to talk to this conference digitally from Delhi, why this right was denied to the IT and Law Minister?
May I tell you the true answer,
No,
Mr.
this is a
Ravi
very
Shankar
fundamental
Prasad?
question. You have
yes,
to.
it's a fundamental question and I'll answer it. Thanks to a certain act brought by your ministry called the Citizenship Amendment Act, there were fires burning in Delhi, literally, which is not why this is called the Fireside Chat. It was named Fireside Chat even before that.
That was equally relevant for the Law Minister of India.
So,
there is something which you have to answer. And this is only thing.
Railway stations were being damaged,
No, you enjoy firework only in my physical presence, not in my digital presence, okay? That's the problem. Anyway, go ahead.
So, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, what do you want to hear first? The good news or the bad news?
Have anyone dared ask these questions to you? You start in your own way. Start in your own way.
All right. So the bad news. Because good news is often given by the government itself. We're here for the tough and the bad news, and we ask questions on that. So, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, the introduction itself said the telecom sector is on the ventilator. All the big players, Mr. Kumaramangalam Birla, Mr. Sunil Mittal, Vodafone, everybody's come out and said, they're close to a shutdown situation. जिनको shutdown होना चाहिए था, MTNL, BSNL, वो हो नहीं रहे हैं, और जो चलने चाहिए थे, वो बंद हो रहे हैं. सर, ये थोड़ा समझाएं ऑडियंस को.
अच्छा, पहले ये बताइए, हिंदी में बात करना है, इंग्लिश में बात करना है, ये भी तय कर लीजिए आज मुंबई में, बता लीजिए.
Audience, what do you want to hear it in, English or Hindi? Okay.
अच्छा, I will speak English, okay? Hindi, English mixed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you must understand. Let me clarify the government of India's position on telecom very clearly and categorically. We don't countenance any monopoly, nor we will. Okay? That's one thing, be very clear. Second, BSNL and MTNL are strategic assets. They lay down the lines for defense. They give free service in the case of cyclone, in the case of floods, in the case of earthquake in Nepal. That is there, I need to say it very frankly and categorically. Therefore, we owe it. They go with BharatNet to the Gram Panchayats of India, which others don't go. And I have no problem with them. It is their business model. Now, regarding the private sectors are concerned, yes, there are cause for stress, which they always mention. What we have done? We have done our best for them. Two things they wanted, which we have done, namely, from 10 installments of a spectrum charge, we have extended to 16. And all the spectrum installment from 21, 22 and other 2 years have been now completely put on hold, giving them a cool benefit of 42,000 crores. That we have already done. That's what we wanted. I am preempting your questions on AGR. A judgment has come of the Supreme Court pending for the last more than 10 years. The Supreme Court has taken a decision. Many parties have filed a review. We will explain our position there. Many of the PSUs who are also impacted by the AGR have given representation to us. That we are also examining. But having said all this, let me put a counter question to you. We are doing so much for the private sector. We are open for doing something more if needed. Then you are happy about it. But you have a problem for BSNL, MTNL is something I don't follow. I have to be equal for all. And let me say it on the floor of Times now, that for a fair competition to happen, it is equally important a strategic asset PSU must remain in the field. That's what we are doing. लेकिन मैं आपसे एक बात जरूर कहूँगा, हम ये भी उम्मीद करेंगे कि प्राइवेट टेलीकॉम कंपनी टेक्नोलॉजी में इन्वेस्ट करें. They must invest in technology, keep their services flawless, give good consumer satisfaction. That's how we are working.
But 74,000 crore of losses with just two companies is a serious issue. And I want to ask you, I've asked you this before, but Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, you've always sidestepped the question. And that question is a question that you love to hear. And then that's when I think the fireworks will begin. Because the Vodafone CEO made a statement that unless the government grants relaxation over payment of mobile spectrum fees, companies may have to leave India. And then he wrote a letter to you apologizing.
I don't appreciate this kind of statement. Very firmly and very clearly. We have given all the opening for doing business. But no one should dictate terms on us. India is a sovereign country. Be very clear about it. And I have not appreciated it, I have not approved it. I'm happy they realized and they said I was misquoted. The matter ends there. India is a sovereign country, Madam Navika Kumar. We are open to give all the benefits, all the indulgences, all the help, open to all the suggestions. But any sort of dictation is plainly not acceptable.
You really thought that was arm twisting?
अब आपको कौन समझाए? आपको समझाए कौन? समस्या यही है. आपको कौन समझाए?
मुझे मत समझाइए, जनता को समझाइए.
जनता समझ गई जो मैंने कहा और उनकी आंखों के इशारों ने सब कुछ कह भी दिया. तो आप वहीं बंद कर दीजिए आप.
All right. So telecom sector.
आज मैं भी फायरवर्क के मूड में हूं मैडम. हाँ.
जी सर, दिख रहा है.
जब आपने मुझे मुंबई बुला ही लिया है तो होने दीजिए थोड़ा सा.
So I
we are close friends. Take it cool. Yes.
Well, but I want to ask you, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, and this is on a very serious note, as a journalist, yes, we've seen politicians in the corridors of power. As we've grown as reporters, you've grown in your political stature. But the fact is, the data protection bill that you have brought in, I think everybody has a problem with it. As people in digital India who are using data, this data protection bill is heavily loaded in favor of the government and the government's investigation agencies. And these investigation agencies are often called as agencies which get into phishing operations. To have exemptions for such investigation agencies is making a mockery of the common man's privacy right.
You have asked a very loaded question. Allow me some time. The whole world is waiting for our data protection law, which we have framed after a proper recommendation of a high-powered committee headed by Justice Sri Krishna. Supreme Court, in the case of privacy, has given a judgment, and I would like my Mumbai friends to recall that they have held privacy to be a part of fundamental right. But they've also stated that a terrorist or a corrupt person do not have any privacy.
I'm not a terrorist or corrupt,
Did I
but
say
you
that?
want to peep into my data as well.
Did I say that?
Well, that's...
Now, what is... Now, please, don't interrupt me, please. Friends, what is the architecture? One is the data principle. the human being owner of his data. One is the data fiduciary, a company, an entity which deals with this data. The first is no data can be taken without consent of the principal. Second, consent will be free, voluntary in form. Number three, consent will be for a limited purpose. And if you cross that, you will pay a penalty of minimum 2 crores. Individual has got the right to withdraw his consent. The individual has got the right to be forgotten. And if they abuse his data, consequence will follow, including a substantial part of your global revenue. That is the architecture. The second, 3 types of data. Sensitive data, your income, your medical record, your sexual preferences, etc., etc., will be stored in India, can go outside India with the consent of the owner of that data and with permission of the authority. Critical data, only the government will decide from time to time what is critical. Will have to be stored in India and processed in India. Thirdly is non-personal, all this. Now, to my friends present here, let me explain. India today has got 120 crore plus mobile phones, 124 crore Aadhaar card. Digital India program startup. We are generating data in billions. I want India to become a big center of data processing because this is the new venture coming about. Surely, data should not be known, but suppose a particular illness is afflicting a particular area, the data must be available for policymaker to frame the policy. But that data must be anonymized data. These are the future kind of scenarios occurring which you have addressed. Now coming to that issue, terrorism is a problem or not? It is a problem. Should the investigation be done properly or not? Fair investigation is also a part of good governance. So what we have stated, in the case of terrorism, in the case of rampant communal violence, let me mention the case of WhatsApp. A problem was happening in India, mob lynching and others. On the same day, on the same issue, in the same area, during the same time, lakhs and lakhs of messages used to be circulated. I said, you don't need rocket science. This has to be checked. They ultimately said nothing beyond 5 recirculation. On the issue of traceability, we are talking. Now, because the point I'm trying to highlight you, we have to balance both the rights of individual paramount, the privacy of individual paramount, including of yours, and also of the government's obligation to maintain safety, security, and fair investigation. That's what this is about. But we, as I said earlier, 6,000 suggestions came, 500 came from the global world also. We have gone for a joint select committee. You also come and address your concerns there. Let us have a good fine print. And I know the view of my Prime Minister. He said, data protection is an evolving law. I want the finest minds of India to apply their mind once again in the parliamentary process so that we can come with a fair law.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, I want to ask...
Anything on data protection?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I want to ask you,
Yes.
Justice B.N. Sri Krishna led the committee which drafted the Personal Data Protection Bill. I hope we have no quibble on this. It's a statement of fact.
Yes, yes.
All right.
You invariably make statements of fact.
All right.
Only the conclusions are wrong, which you try to draw.
All
yes,
right.
go ahead.
So, this is not my conclusion. This is Justice B.N. Sri Krishna who says that the bill placed in Parliament on last Wednesday, which allows the centre to exempt its agencies from all provisions, is dangerous and can turn India into an Orwellian state. A statement made by Justice B.N. Sri Krishna, not by Navika Kumar.
I have the highest regard for him. I have also seen his statement. We will discuss with him. And once the fine print of the bill is available to him, surely it will be, he will be able to understand that we have followed in principle what he had recommended. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you one thing. Fundamental Rights Article 19(1) gives the freedom of speech to you. But that is subject to reasonable restriction for the safety and security of India, sovereignty of India, etc., etc. Therefore, the most pristine freedom is not unlimited. Similarly, under the Information Technology Act and the Telegraph Act, Section 5, 69 of the IT Act, these rights are given to the investigative agency for safety and security of India, for sovereignty of India, for public order, for preventing crime, etc., and fair investigation. And today, Navika, you'll have to acknowledge that forensic digital investigation is an important component of a fair investigation. So this is how we have, but one thing is there is a proper mechanism. What is the mechanism? It must be authorized by the competent authority, namely the Home Secretary in the Government of India. It must be for a limited period. It must be confirmed by a high-powered committee headed by the Cabinet Secretary, comprising the IT Secretary and the Law Secretary. Similarly, in the case of state governments also, the Chief Secretary must oversee it with his officers. Therefore, there is a proper review committee. And the Supreme Court, by the way, Navika, has upheld this to be a fairly fair and valid exceptions.
So, एक क्रिकेट में टर्मिनोलॉजी होती है लूज बॉल, और जब लूज बॉल आती है तो उस पर किसी तरह का भी स्ट्रोक खेला जा सकता है।
आपके लिए समस्या ये है कि आज आपके सामने आईटी मिनिस्टर भी हैं जो लॉ मिनिस्टर भी हैं। तो अगर आप मुझे आईटी में फंसाएंगे तो मैं लॉ में निकल जाऊंगा, और अगर आप लॉ लाएंगी तो हम आईटी से निकल जाएंगे। तो इसमें हम क्या करें, बता दीजिए।
नहीं तो बेसिकली आप रास्ता देख रहे हैं बाहर निकलने का, सवाल तो आपको मुश्किल लग रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल रास्ता नहीं निकालता हूं। रविशंकर प्रसाद फ्रैंकली बात करते हैं, एंड रविशंकर प्रसाद वांट्स इंडिया टू बिकम ए फाइन कंट्री of a very robust data protection law, where the rights of Indians are respected, where the enormous business opportunity which data processing allows flowers and prospers, and also data is not abused by the corrupt and the terrorist to create problems. These are the three mileposts, and surely we'll be successful.
Sir, अब आईटी मिनिस्टर
डेटा
कह लीजिए या लॉ मिनिस्टर कह लीजिए, सवाल आपसे पूछूंगी। व्हाट्सएप ने आपको नोटिफाई किया था, आपको मतलब आपके डिपार्टमेंट को नोटिफाई किया था that 121 individuals were being snooped. सर, कौन से होम सेक्रेटरी ने ऑथोराइज किया था?
अच्छा, मुझे ये बताइए, कोई इलीगल करता है तो कार्रवाई होती है ना? और एक मिनट सुन लीजिए आप, हमने व्हाट्सएप से कहा था कि वो उन्होंने अमेरिका के कोर्ट में कहा था, लेट दिस बी नोन वेरी क्लियरली, व्हाट दे सेड वाज दिस स्टेटेड बाय देम इन अ कोर्ट इन अमेरिका, एंड देयर हाईएस्ट पीपल, नंबर 2, a former deputy prime minister of England who faces the policy initiative, met me individually. They never complained about it. But beyond this, I will not say anything further because my certain is engagement with them. I don't want to prejudice their case, except to gently remind all these global companies, India has the biggest presence of Facebook in India. Welcome. India has the biggest global presence of WhatsApp in India, in the world. Welcome. Twitter, etc., all welcome. India is a free democratic country. You all are welcome to use business opportunity in India, but do it fairly, in accordance with law. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, I just need to press this point a little bit because 4th of November was the deadline given by you to WhatsApp to come clean on what exactly had transpired. We are sitting in the 16th of December. Do common people, and I think everybody in this room would be a user of WhatsApp. Are we? How many of us use WhatsApp? Do we need to know what really transpired, sir?
देखिए, व्हाट्सएप से इस इशू पर हम क्या ट्रांसपायर हो रहा है हम आपको टाइम्स नाउ में बताएंगे। हाँ, एक मिनट, पब्लिक को हम जरूर बताएंगे आफ्टर माय इंक्वायरी इज कंप्लीट, एंड दे आर ट्रस्टिंग मी एंड माय गवर्नमेंट. दैट्स वन थिंग. The second thing which is most important is I'm happy, why I said initially itself, that WhatsApp has the biggest global presence in India. They do good business opportunity in India. So is Facebook. Digital payment is rising in India. Global players are coming here. I'm also willing to tell you that this year $64 billion US dollars of FDI has come, which is 6% more than the previous year. And the biggest component has been telecom and IT. I'm also the electronic minister. When we had come in 2014, there were only 2 mobile factories. Now India is home to 268 mobile factory. And today I can happily tell you that even Apple has started manufacturing in India. And they say, design in California, manufactured in India. That's what we have done. The money is also come, they are assembled in India. Money, FDI is coming. But all this is quite welcome. But the legal obligations have also to be followed.
On a serious note, sir, Pegasus.
Oh, was I talking non-serious till now?
My questions
All right,
you
go
thought
ahead.
were, well, I want to ask you, Pegasus and the kind of interceptions that we've talked about in the past on several occasions. Do you actually, as a government, outsource
We don't.
this activity?
We don't. But ladies and gentlemen, today I am going to ask a counter question. And it's a very honest question, which I think Madam Navika Kumar will reply. इनको जो अपनी स्टोरी चलानी होती है तो खूब व्हाट्सएप पर और मोबाइल से लोगों को कैप्चर कर लेती है, याद है ना आपको? और वो कैप्चर करके हेडलाइन न्यूज बनाती हैं कि दिस मैन हैज बीन कैप्चर्ड ऑफ द गार्ड. तो इनको जो अपना न्यूज चलाना होता है तो बिल्कुल नॉर्म्स को खत्म कर देती हैं. करती हैं कि नहीं करती हैं?
बिना permission के
sting of
only politicians are shot because you're public servants.
Do you take permission during sting operations? You don't. I don't quarrel with you.
But that's on public servants.
I don't. Oh, you will take an ex parte claim that we are doing for public cause. Kamal hai. Wah, 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 wah. Chaliye, chhodiye is baat. It was in lighter vein. What I am simply saying, if anyone does unauthorized interception, he'll have to suffer the consequences. I've already told you. There has to be a proper process, and one of the reasons why we are in serious pursuit of our inquiry is also to insist that if any interception has to be there, it has to be fair in accordance with law. And if it does not, then obviously consequence will follow.
So, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, now let me turn to you as the Law Minister of India and ask you about the Citizenship Amendment Act. The act that has come in has been called non-secular. It's been called an anti-minority, anti-Muslim act because that's the only minority that has been excluded. And it has led to certain events in various parts of the country where people have come up and objected to the basic principles of this act. I want to ask you, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, at a time when our country is facing an economic crisis as it is, do you think the kind of outburst we've seen against this particular act is something that will impediment our economic growth further?
On the economic issue, I hope you'll ask me some question toward the conclusion of this program. I will also add my own input in addition to what Piyush has just stated. But ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you what this bill is about. This Citizenship Amendment Bill does not touch even remotely anyone Indian living in India, including Muslim. One. It does not prevent even remotely any Indian, including Muslim, from pursuing their faith honestly and fairly. Let's be very clear about it. What this bill does is to create an enabling provision for Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Christians and Parsis living in Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh who are victims of persecution and prosecution because of their faith, and there is substantial evidence of that, to come to India and get citizenship. India, because of its great tradition of sheltering. And Navika, since you have asked me this question today in Mumbai, I need to remind that when our Parsi friends of the Zoroastrian faith came to India in Gujarat, after being persecuted in Tehran, they said, "Hamari aag ko alag rakhna hai. Anyone else cannot touch it." And the king of that area permitted them in Gujarat. That is our spirit of tolerance. Therefore, that's all. Many of them are living in abject conditions. This was clarified by the Prime Minister. This was clarified by the Home Minister. This was clarified by me while speaking in the Parliament as the Law Minister. Authoritative clarification has been done. I repeat, the bill does not touch any Indian. The bill does not prevent any Indian, including Muslim, from practicing his or her faith. In that view of the matter, I will appeal for peace. Many of these violence are regrettable. Many, it appears to have been also sponsored. And I'm deep, let us not go into names, but yes, the way Congress party has jumped, what has happened to Congress party? This party has ruled the country for close to 50 years plus alone. Their leaders, I will not take name, at times they side with Tukde gang. At times they speak up with the secessionists and separatists. Now, some people are trying to provoke communal violence. India is important. It will be taken care of. But what is important is, political party must understand that on certain issues we have to travel beyond politics. And this in particular, I would like to appeal to the Congress party. Elections will come, election will go. But if you take up these causes to provoke communal violence and tension, it is not fair. The Prime Minister has appealed publicly. He has given a lot of tweets. In democracy, we can debate, we can dialogue, we can differ. But violence is certainly not acceptable. And today he has appealed to the entire country. And surely Assam and Northeast are subsiding. There may have been sudden eruption of violence in Delhi. Therefore, I said it was not very natural and self-engineered. But it will certainly come under control. But let me repeat once again to this august crowd of my friends in Mumbai that Citizenship Amendment Bill is safe, is sound. It does not create any problem of any Indian living in India, including my Muslim brothers and sisters who can practice their faith. And lastly, Navika, I must clarify it. ये मुल्क जितना हिंदुओं का है, ये मुल्क उतना ही मुस्लिम का भी है.
तो इसीलिए
नहीं,
तो
नहीं, नहीं, एक
ये
मिनट
वायलेंस जो है,
नहीं,
this is a precursor
नहीं,
to
नहीं,
the
नहीं,
National Register for Citizenship.
मैं आता हूँ,
That is NRC.
मैं आता हूँ. आज मुझे थोड़ा यहाँ पर बोलने दिया जाए. इस देश में हम मुस्लिम समाज के एक से एक आइकन्स हुए हैं. From Abdul Hamid to APJ Kalam to Maulana Kalam Azad to great poets to great thinkers, we salute them. India is to Ashfaqullah Khan, the great freedom fighter. That's how we see the contribution of Muslims. Therefore, they are safe and sound and secure. Now, coming to the NRC, the final draft is yet not ready before you. Therefore, people are raking up for political purposes. When the final draft will come, Namika, surely we'll get the time to debate about it. But let me throw an idea before this august crowd. If a country of the size of India, many countries are going for their citizenship record. And by the way, when you vote in the elections, only citizens of India can vote, isn't it? तो आपकी वोटर लिस्ट बनती है कि नहीं बनती है? उसमें आपका कार्ड छपता है कि नहीं छपता है? And is the voter list periodically subject to review or not? If you are no more in Mumbai, your name will be deleted. If some new have come, their name will be added. Then to no one creates a problem that my privacy is being invaded, I am being discriminated. Because if you have to vote in the country, your name must be in the voter list and you must have a voter card. Therefore, when we come with the final draft of NRC, surely much of the misgivings would be satisfied. That's how I see it.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, the question India wants to ask is, will NRC divide the social fabric of this country further, create the problems that we've just seen a precursor of in various states in the last few days? And where does this take the aspirations and the action on the economic front, where we are talking about getting to a 5 trillion economy?
First of all, I must clarify to you, Navika, again, that India has a unique tradition of dialogue and discussions. When Aadhaar came, because an IT minister, I handled Aadhaar, there were so many cases in Supreme Court. And by the way you talk, the nation wants to know, that is the monopoly of someone else, okay? I hope you understand that.
I said India wants to know, sir. There's a difference.
Achha, all right. Nation wants to know, India wants to know. That is a new vocabulary I have learned in
By the
Times
way,
Now. Keep it up.
copyright for nation wants to know is with Times Now.
Anyway. Oh my goodness. You saw, ladies and gentlemen, how much closeness is there. This is my copyright.
Absolutely, a Times
Keep it
Now
up.
property is a Times Now
Keep
property.
it up, ma'am. Nice to hear that.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
no
Even
problem.
if it is the law minister trying to intimidate me.
No. Can anyone intimidate of all the persons, Navika Kumar, who keeps on asking questions in the entire country? Anyway, now what I'm simply trying to tell you, let me give you some facts today. You know, 2 crore Indians have been given their income tax refund worth 1,20,000 crores in the last 2-3 months. Do you know 71,000 crores of GST refund has taken place as till 30th of November? I'm only giving you 2-3 numbers. The income tax collection of India has from 6.5 lakh crore has crossed 10 lakh crore. I do acknowledge because of global phenomena, there are certain strains. We are trying to recover it. But as I said, the fundamentals of Indian economy are strong, namely from current accounts deficit to fiscal deficit to FDI I just mentioned, $64 billion plus, 6% rise from the previous one, and $447 billion of foreign reserves. Because the world still deems India as one of the most attractive destination. And Navika, why FDI is important? That FDI receipt globally has shrunk to a new level. We are rising. But I never dispute, because of global factor, it is a periodic phenomena. Does problems and strains happen? We'll overcome it. Because let me tell you, this is the age of information and aspiration. And to my Mumbai crowd, I would only like to share one thing. The startup movement in India started seriously in 2015. India today is home to 25,000 startups, out of which 8,000 to 9,000 are technology startups, out of which 25 are unicorn, namely having turnover of $7,000 plus, $1 billion plus. That is a new India emerging. And this India is a resurgent India. This India is a confident India. And I'm sure, regardless of these political hiccups, the flow and ebb of this aspiration will go on.
So, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, before I let you go, I want to ask you, और आई थिंक मुंबई के सब लोग जानना चाहते हैं कि आपका रिफॉर्म्स का स्प्री हो गया, डीमो, जीएसटी, सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट, एनआरसी आपने कहा ड्राफ्ट स्टेज है तो वो भी हो ही जाएगा, मंदिर भी आपने बनवाने की घोषणा आज अमित शाह जी ने कर दी, 4 महीने में मंदिर भी बनना शुरू हो जाएगा. अब थोड़ा सा ध्यान इकोनॉमी को दे लें कि अब यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड आ जाएगा बजट सेशन में और फिर एक और कंट्रोवर्सी, एक और डिबेट इस देश में होगी.
अच्छा, हम अपना काम करते तो आपको परेशानी क्या होती है भाई? अपना हम काम कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ जो मैनिफेस्टो में कहा है कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इकोनॉमी को यू डिडंट मेंशन अबाउट रिफॉर्म इनिशिएटिव ऑफ माय ओन डिपार्टमेंट, लॉ मिनिस्ट्री. वी आर गोइंग टू मेक इंडिया a big hub of global arbitration. We have changed the law. Institutional arbitration we are promoting in a big way. We are setting up an arbitration council to grade these institutions. And Mumbai, many of these institutions are doing quite well. We are going to set up a New Delhi arbitration center also. Commercial court, from 1 crore we have brought to 3 lakhs. Many commercial courts have started functioning in Delhi and Mumbai. Then we have changed the whole Specific Relief Act. Today, fulfillment of contract is the rule, not the compensation with the exception. Whole range of other initiatives we are doing, pumping in 70,000 crore to the banks, 20,000 crore for real estate sector. So reform process is going on. Daily we are passing, believe in the case of finance and economy. Because the mantra of my leader, the Prime Minister, is reform, perform in order to transform. That is our commitment. And that is going to be a proper process without interruption, regardless of these political hiccups. राज नाविका, आपके मंच से मैं कांग्रेस पार्टी और कुछ लोगों से एक गुजारिश करना चाहूँगा.
राहुल गांधी को?
अब छोड़िए, अब पीयूष ने जवाब दे दिया है। राहुल गांधी को मैं एक बात कहूंगा कि उनको अपनी पॉलिटिक्स करने का पूरा अधिकार है, लेकिन मैं राहुल सावरकर नहीं हूं, इससे बड़ी शर्मनाक बात कोई हो नहीं सकती है। और मैंने सोचा हुआ था कि मैं मुंबई में इसका जवाब दूंगा। मैं आपसे भी गुजारिश करूंगा कि कभी जाइए अंडमान निकोबार और उस काले पानी में सिल्वर जेल के उस सेल में जाइए जहां पर सावरकर ने 11 साल गुजारे थे। उसके नीचे कच्ची फांसी हुआ करती थी। आज उनके बाल बच्चे पोते कहाँ हैं पता नहीं है। देश से कुछ नहीं मांगा, सफर किया पूरा परिवार। आप उनसे डिफर कर सकते हैं, लेकिन ये क्या बदतमीजी है भाई, जिस तरह के शब्दों का प्रयोग करते हैं। दैट इज इररिस्पॉन्सिबल एंड आई वुड से deliberate denigration of a great son of India. लेकिन कांग्रेस से मैं क्या कहना चाहता हूं, चुनाव में हारना होता है, जीतना होता है, लेकिन हार की हताश में आप कैसे लोगों के साथ खड़े हो जाते हैं, इससे अधिक मैं कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा। और अगर कांग्रेस ये समझती है कि ऐसे लोगों के साथ खड़े होकर करके हम नरेंद्र मोदी और बीजेपी को कमजोर करेंगे, तो आप गलतफहमी में हैं। हम और बढ़ते रहेंगे, क्योंकि हमारे देश का स्वाभिमान और देश का विकास सबसे जरूरी है। That's all I have to
आप
say.
मुंबई में हैं, तो बिफोर आई लेट यू गो मैं ये कहूंगी कि लोग ये भी आपसे भी पूछेंगे कि आप भी किनके साथ खड़े हो जाते हैं सुबह सुबह 7:30 बजे ओथ लेने के लिए। मुंबई में है ये सवाल, महाराष्ट्र
नहीं,
पूछेंगे।
बिल्कुल अच्छी बात है, अच्छी बात है। आज चूंकि खर्री बात हो रही है, तो चलने दीजिए इसको। आई होप इट इज गोइंग लाइव ना। Well, my friends from Mumbai, we had an alliance for the last so many years. Okay? You all gave us a clear, comfortable majority. You gave us a clear, comfortable majority. The reasons best known, our other partner decided not to come with us. Now, a lot of Mumbaikar and Maharashtra people are saying, why you are allowing my mandate to get wasted? We made an attempt to form the government. We didn't succeed. That's all.
नहीं तो और सही, और नहीं तो और सही।
That's all सही। नाविका जी, कभी वक्त मिलेगा तो हम आपसे भी अलायंस कर सकते हैं, चिंता मत करिए। आप भी एक अच्छी पॉलिटिकल प्राणी बन सकती हैं, ठीक है?
Well, on that note, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and that was the lively Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, and we must give him a big round of applause because he's been in good humor. I don't know, maybe I'll just get shot outside because the agencies are not being controlled by him. Thank you very much, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad.
Sir, no audience questions, please.